What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and we're back in the office. And in today's video, I'm gonna actually be showing you guys a few of the Zhiyun crane or Zhiyun cranes accessories to create what I call the pro level setup. So let's get it. What's going on, guys? If this is your first time to the channel, first of all, thank you so much for joining me. This channel is all about filmmaking gear, tips, and tutorials. And so if you are a filmmaker or content creator, this is the perfect channel for you. So I definitely welcome you guys to hit that subscribe button. But as you guys can see from the thumbnail and title of this video, we're gonna be looking at what I call the pro level setup, or what a lot of people are considering to be the pro level setup with the Zhiyun Crane 2. Now, well, obviously, as you guys already know, I'm a huge fan of the Zhiyun Crane 2. I've been using it now for a couple months and have been using it pretty much exclusively to the point where I no longer shoot with a glide cam. I no longer shoot with a Ronin. This has become my primary gimbal of choice, my primary steady cam, or whatever you want to call it, of choice. It is my go-to. It is in my opinion, the best run and gun accessory to go with my camera, and due to all the accessories that Zhiyun now offers for the Crane 2, it is now taking this thing to the next level. So the first accessory we're going to be taking a look at is this guy right here. This is the dual handlebar grip for the Zhiyun Crane 2. On top of that, I also have attached on here the thumb control for the Zhiyun Crane 2, and then this guy right here is just a clamp. Now I'm adding this on so you guys can see what it looks like, or what it actually would be like to add a monitor onto this guy, because in my opinion, this is what takes it up to that pro level status that a lot of people are comparing it to, like the Ronins or the Movi systems. And so I had to get this here so I could show you guys what that would look like and ultimately what my thoughts were on it. So the first thing I want to take a look at is the actual handlebar setup itself. So it breaks down into three parts. You actually have the rod that actually holds the Zhiyun crane, which you can see there's a nice cutout for the crane to fit in perfectly. And then you get these two handles that actually can come off. What I do like about these two handles is you can position them any way you want, so they don't always have to be down. You can have them facing up, or you can actually have one up, one down, depending on what type of creative shots you're trying to get. But I will say that these feel really good. I mean, holding them, they feel really sturdy. The grips on them are perfect. They both have threaded holes at the bottom. So that means if you wanted to mount them onto something or mount something to them, like for example, you could actually run your monitor straight into this if you wanted to. That is a nice big bonus. On top of the threads underneath the handles, on the side of each bar, there are actual threads as well. So there are tons of mounting points on this guy. I mean, you have 4 actual mounting points here, and then obviously you have the rod where you can mount things as well. So you can, really take this thing up to, a very professional build. The only thing you start having to worry about there is obviously weight. Now, the only thing that I don't necessarily like about this is that it doesn't collapse down. This rod is pretty large, and so, carrying this around, and especially because the Crane 2's case doesn't have a place to put this, it becomes a little bit cumbersome to travel with. Obviously, that's a very small gripe, but it is something to consider. It doesn't actually fit in any type of a case. I haven't been able to find any cases designed for this either, so you're pretty much just carrying this thing around as an extra accessory. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the thumb control. Now, in my opinion, if you are going to get the dual handlebars, you have to get the thumb controls, because at that point, if you are actually using this guy and then you need to, start or stop the recording, or be able to control the Zhiyun's axis, or even just be able to switch modes, it's a whole lot easier to just reach over with your thumb and be able to make those changes. I personally don't think I would ever use this setup without this, because having to switch back and forth from going from this type of a setup over to moving your hand to the middle to be able to adjust the crane, it just seems kind of pointless. At that point, if you're having to switch back and forth, why are you even using this guy anyway? So if you're gonna use this setup, I strongly recommend picking up the thumb control. It connects via Bluetooth. It's super easy. There's no instruction on how to do this, but I found out online and through other YouTube videos that you actually have to hold down the record button here, /power button, and the mode button at the same time When you do that, it automatically engages the Bluetooth. It'll automatically pick up the Zhiyun Crane 2, and then they work perfectly fine. It's really that easy. The only issue I've currently had with it, and I don't know if it's because I'm working with Canon lenses, or I'm not really sure why this would even be helpful, but the zoom in and out feature, it really does nothing when you're working with a DSLR. So, or at least Canon, I can speak for Canon, but this zoom in and out feature, the WT, it doesn't do anything when working with my DSLRs. All right, and the last thing I want to briefly just kind of go over is using this with a monitor. You know, I personally love the Zhiyun Crane 2, and I love how compact it is, and that's the reason why it has become my main gimbal of choice. However, using bars like this is really only necessary if you're planning on, you know, attaching, you know, a monitor to it, or, you know, you're trying to rig something else onto it, like a microphone or something that you don't want to attach to the actual camera itself. And so that's where I really find myself really torn as far as who needs this or who really is going to use this. I went shooting with my friend Sticks the other day, kind of testing out this dual handle grip, and a couple things that I realized right off the bat is, yes, it makes holding this a whole lot easier. It makes holding the crane so much easier because you're able to kind of disperse that weight between two hands. The other thing that I noticed is that my shots when walking were definitely a lot more stable. I didn't have to add any additional stabilization in post, which sometimes even with the gimbal you might have to do. I realized that a lot of my shots came right out of camera, no issues, didn't need to do any of that. So I did like having that two-handed stabilization. However, when running with this setup, I found that it actually did not perform as well as just handling the crane by itself. I found that, you know, just using the crane with no dual handles was a lot easier. On top of that, I don't know if it's just the placement of where the camera sits with the crane, but I had a monitor attached to it and I never found myself actually looking at my monitor that was attached. I naturally just looked over to the back of the camera. If you have a monitor that gives you additional features, things like, you know, focus peaking or, you know, false color or anything like that, those may be a great reason why you attach a monitor to this setup. But if your monitor is strictly for using it to be able to actually frame your shots, which I think you could do perfectly fine with the actual screen on the back of your camera, then I'm not really sure if this dual handle grip is right for you. However, obviously that's something that you're gonna have to decide. Overall, as far as the design of this product and the way it's built and the way it's used, I think it works great. If you are a owner of the Crane 2 and you are thinking about getting the dual handle grips, I definitely think they're a great accessory to hold on to, because for certain shoots, especially if you're shooting for a long period of time, it is nice to disperse that weight a little bit more widely through two hands, especially if you're someone like me and you're using a 1DX Mark II, which is already a super heavy camera. It is nice to kind of disperse that weight. However, if you are someone who just wants something that's lightweight, easy to run and gun with, and you don't want to have to worry about all the additional accessories, I don't think this is something that is mandatory. I don't think this is right for everyone. I got one because I wanted to have that option for longer days of shooting and to be able to use my monitor for things like focus peaking and little things like that. But if you're not someone who needs that, if you're not someone who's going to use that, then I think you'll be perfectly fine without having this. But that's ultimately just my opinion. So that's it. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope that was super helpful if you are already in the market looking for these handlebars. Also, I'm not sure if you guys saw this already, but some new stuff is coming very soon. Testing out a couple little samples, so let me know what you guys think about this down below. And of course, I have to give a huge shout out to today's fan of the day, which is Brian Sellers. And I just want to say, man, I appreciate your comment on the Why Not You video, which if you guys have not seen that already, that was this Monday's Motivational Monday. Definitely go check that out. But he had a comment and it really hit me. It made me really think. I don't want to get, you know, into too much detail, and I hope he's okay with me sharing this because he posted it in the comments, which is public, so I don't think that'll be an issue. But he mentioned that, you know, he's been trying to get over a, you know, a stuttering issue for, you know, creating his own content. And I would say to anyone, we all have things that, you know, we don't like about ourselves that make it hard for us to get on camera. And Brian, I'm super happy that you posted that in the comments and that you are trying to get over that. I applaud you 100%. I think I messaged you back on that, or if I didn't, take this as my message. Whenever you post content, definitely share it with me. I would love to promote that, because we all have things that make it tough for us to get on camera. I personally don't like being on camera as much. I started out being 100% behind the camera, but I had things I wanted to share, and so I knew I had to just get over those things and get in front of it. And the more you do it, the better you're going to be. I by no means think that I am perfect at this. I know I have a long way to go, but we all have things that are gonna make us not wanna go after what we're trying to go after. And I think if we really just keep putting our nose to the ground and we work super hard, we can all accomplish those goals that we have for ourselves. So Brian, thank you so much. You are today's fan of the day. I appreciate you watching my videos, subscribing to the channel, and always leaving those comments. And for everyone else, if you have any comments or if you have any questions about the Crane 2 setup or about the Crane 2 in general, leave those questions down below. And if you haven't already and you've watched the video this far, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You're not gonna regret it, I promise you that. All right, until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.